And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you win in any marketplace. Over 50 show partners, 80 categories of consumer advocate content and advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. 4 o'clock drive time, AM 860 The Answer, weekend show on FM 1025 The Bone, and our daily TV show on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and 85 other smart television outlets. So we want to help you win in any marketplace, avoid a lot of the commission-based advice that's so prevalent in our society today. And we want to let you know about an event that we've got coming up, benefiting the Wounded Warriors, proceeds to Wounded Warriors and the veterans that serve this great country. The Winner's Circle with Ken Shamrock and Antonio Tarver, and your host, Brandon Rhymes. Of course, I'm going to be hosting a live Q&A session at Florida Firearms Academy, Wednesday, January 8th, 7 p.m., Florida Firearms Academy, January 8th. And Ken Shamrock, UFC Hall of Famer, WWF legend, and my business partner, as well as Antonio Tarver, Tampa's own Antonio Tarver. He's a 5-time world boxing champion, and he was co-star in the Rocky Balboa movie with Sylvester Stallone. If you remember that one, Rocky, I think it was Rocky 5 in that series of, seems like endless Rockies out there. So you register on eventbrite.com and come out and hang out with us. Come network, and we're going to have food and drinks, beer and wine. DJ Yahoo is going to be spinning as well. DJ Yahoo from Salem Media here as well. So going to be a good time. Come on out and join us. Look forward to seeing you there. Get your tickets on eventbrite.com. Veterans attend free. All of our show partners, of course, attend free as well. So. And this segment is brought to you by Infinity Medical Institute in Tampa Bay, 10 years in the business, and they have successfully treated over 40,000 patients with weight loss, pellet hormone therapy. So they offer low T therapy, weight loss plans, cosmetic services such as Botox. They have improved sexual wellness and increased energy as well. And they've got stem cells coming as well very soon from Infinity Medical Institute. Check them out online, infinitymedicalinstitute.com. And we've got an all-star lineup for you today. We got Ray Hall back in studio. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me back. I always look forward to it.
Yes, sir. Ray Hall Appraisals in the house.
Yep. I'm, out there. It's a busy month. This is probably one of the busiest Decembers I've ever had. So, but love taking the time to come in here and, people are still overpaying. No one's listening to me.
Overpaying for assets. Got to be careful. It's a lot of times in the real estate space, especially when the market's been good for so long. What happens, Ray?
It's. I always say real estate is just it's not rational. It's very irrational buying.
Emotional.
It's very emotional. Mm-hmm. It's the only thing we go out and say, hey, I'll give you more than what you're asking for it.
Yeah.
And it happens too often. And I keep saying every week, stop doing it. It's not the time of the market to do that. That was years ago, not anymore.
Especially for sell by owners, they always price their house a little bit high.
They do. And I've had that instance where, I have a cash buyer on a FSBO and I go in and I have to tell this cash buyer, like, you're really overpaying a lot.
You're about to make a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 mistake in many cases.
I've seen it even more.
Yeah.
We talked about some of those higher end houses where $100,000 over.
Big time.
And you have to convince them you don't have a brand new house. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
So, we can talk more about that.
You got Ray Hall in the house. We also have Linda Ward. Welcome back in, Linda.
Hi, Brandon. Nice to see you again.
Absolutely. Likewise. President and CEO, Gulfside Healthcare Services in the house.
Happy to be here.
Awesome.
Always love to provide information to our seniors and people in need in the community. So thank you for this outlet.
That's right. My pleasure. Home health care, you got hospice services, and all that kind of stuff to help out folks in Tampa Bay.
Yes.
And the Gulf Coast region of Florida.
That's right.
Awesome. And you brought a friend with you today, Debbie Mikus in studio.
Yes.
Welcome in.
Hi, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So Audiologist.
Yes.
What is that all about?
Well, audiology is, I specialize in hearing and fitting hearing aids, especially with senior citizens. That is my specialty.
Yeah.
And I'm unique because I'm mobile. So I go to my patients' homes.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I can't imagine anything, that rivals not being able to hear. You think about, especially this time of year, folks are having their holiday celebrations, Christmas, or if you're Jewish, you celebrate Hanukkah, all the different, cover the bases there, right? But, you're gathered with family, you're constantly saying, huh? Can't I hear you? That's got to be very challenging for your customers.
It is, especially like you said, this time of year. Sometimes this is the only time of year many of our patients get to see their family,
Right.
their grandchildren. So they want to be able to communicate and connect. And it's important to know how to adjust if you do have a hearing loss and you're in a crowd and you want to make sure your family member is not disengaging.
Yeah, that's important. That's important for them to feel part of the family and to be able to interact and just enjoy that time. Because, you know, a lot of times it's that fourth quarter. You know, it's the end of life and it's kind of towards that time. So they want to get to know the grandkids. They want to get to know the family. So you help with that as well, and you're mobile.
I do.
That's
Absolutely.
great. I love that. That's awesome. All right, so we got a great lineup for you here today on the Consumer Quarterback Show. As you know, I'm the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I want to let you know about a couple of hot listings that we've got here. This one's 4348 Harbor Point Drive in Port Richey. Now, just before you even get on the street, you've got ultra high security. This is a $2 million listing of mine, and you've got 2 security guard gates before you even get onto Harbor Point Drive in Port Richey. 6,600 square feet home, beautiful property, waterfront, right on the Gulf of Mexico. 4348 Harbor Point Drive in Port Richey. It's a wonderful palace right here in Tampa Bay. Perfect for entertaining, we could throw some nice house parties there, couldn't we, Ray?
Absolutely. I mean,
That'd be a good one.
for that house, for that price on the water, I mean, you really can't beat it.
Yeah, beautiful property, bay access direct out into the Gulf. You got your deep fishing out there, just a few miles off the coast. You're out there in the grouper and the snapper, all kinds of great fish.
I don't think we'd get back to work again if we were out in that house.
Right, I know, man. Look at that beautiful pool. I mean, it's a majestic looking home. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.com. All right, let's jump right into it. So we got Ray Hall in the house. I want to give an overview before we start here. So we've got, you know, every day we want to be your real estate economist of choice, okay? And we are the folks that are in the know. And so if you look at the statistics and you look at what's happening in the real estate market, I'm going to put it up on screen if you're watching our TV show version. So we're going to start with residential listings in Hillsborough County. Now, if you look at the double underline number, 5,465 properties at the end of November, and you go back all the way to January of 2014, there's over 7,000 properties. So 5,400 properties compared to 7,100 properties in 2014. Now, come on down to the bottom here with me. Look at that. Check that out. The sales. So we've got 40% absorption rate and a 2.49 months of supply. That equals a seller's market. What is a seller's market, Ray, and what does 2.49 months of supply mean?
It means at the current rate of sales, you got 2.9 months till it runs out.
Till it runs out.
And a seller's market basically means that the sellers have more weight on the pricing than the buyers do. You know, we saw the buyer's market after the crash of, you know, the 2007, 2008, when they were just trying to get rid of that real estate, trying to drop that asset. So they would take any kind of deal out there. Now, when you're in a seller's market, it's different because they have the commodity. There's
Yes.
not enough of it out there. There's not enough for those buyers. So they have a lot more weight in that pricing, and they don't have to negotiate as more.
More leverage.
More leverage. So those buyers don't have the leverage like they had back when, you know, financing was limited and there weren't a lot of buyers out there.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is too, now a lot of people say, because we're telling people, hey, it's a great time to buy and sell and invest. It really is.
It
'Cause
is.
You can buy an asset, you can rent that property out, you can cash flow, you can take advantage of the long-term tax implications.
Right.
And here's where most people don't really understand. This is a perfect market for move up buyers.
Exactly. Interest rates are low.
Yes.
So if you're in that higher interest rate loan on a more inexpensive house or a smaller house, and, you know, you just had the kids, you know, you could probably get a mortgage on a bigger house and not have to pay that much more.
Yep.
You know, and that's something you should discuss with your realtor and go to a lender and see what you're going to be paying. But, you know, it's a great time to go ahead and look at that as well if you know, done refinancing.
Yeah, move up buyer for those that don't fully understand. If you have a property that you bought, maybe it's your first home, maybe you said, you know, hey, I bought a $180,000 or $220,000 home. You've lived there for a few years. Why I say it's a perfect time for a move up buyer, because now, hey, you're making a little bit more money. You went back, you got a PhD now or a master's degree. You're making a little bit more money. You know, so if you trade in that $200,000 home, for example, and you buy a $350,000 or $400,000 home, now guess what happens? You're selling at a price point where there's a lot of competition. There's a lot more competition for the $200,000 home than there is for the $400,000 home, and you're going to be able to negotiate favorable terms at that higher price point.
Exactly. And, you know, this is the time to do that. And, you know, especially while interest rates are low, because, I mean, I've been doing this 15 years, and these are some of the lowest rates, that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So, take advantage of it while you can and better your situation.
That's right.
And that could lower your mortgage payment. And if you can lower that mortgage payment, but keep paying the same amount you've been paying, you're going to pay that house off faster. You can maybe later on down the road turn it into a rental property.
Yep.
And then, upgrade from there. But, you've got a lot of options with this market, and you really need to take advantage of it, and you really need to work with professionals when you do that.
And I'm really beating the drum on renters right now.
Yeah.
I want all the renters to hear this drum beat. Can you hear it out there? What we're doing is we're talking about a rent versus own analysis. This is where people that are paying $14, $15. I had one today, $3,000 in rent. Can you imagine the nice house they could almost afford that $6,700, maybe not that one, but that was a $2 million property. But for $3,000 a month in rent, add those numbers up, run that analysis. You're going to see lots of money being thrown away, paid to the landlord. And
exactly, you're paying that money to a wealthy person.
Yes,
because that's how wealthy people make money. They don't buy things; they buy assets.
Yes,
and when you see that these really high end people who have nice boats, nice cars, trust me, it's their tenants that are paying for it.
Yeah,
not them.
Yeah, a lot of times commercial. I talk to people all the time. Yeah, I own a commercial office building. I'm somewhat retired. I've got a strip mall I run over here. I've got a you got a national tenant. You got like a Target or a Publix in there.
Yep.
So there's commercial aspects and residential aspects, and you handle both, right?
Yes, I do. In fact, I just did several commercial properties actually down in Fort Myers area, one in Orlando. And right now I'm doing about 20 single family residences a week.
Nice.
So for anybody who thinks the appraiser doesn't know what he's doing, trust me, I'm out there.
You're seeing the volume.
I'm seeing it,
20 a week, 52 weeks in a year. That's 1,000 plus properties a year.
Yeah. We have slow times and picks up sometimes, but right now everybody's trying to sell quick. Everybody wants that homestead exemption.
Yes.
That they get in January. So I think every order I get right now is, can you do this on a rush order?
Yeah, exactly.
And, I can do anything for the right price.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with the inspectors, right?
Yeah.
Can you inspect this one before next week? We got to get through this.
But even in the real estate business, they want that contract written up, done, out. You guys are under a lot of pressure right now too.
Yeah, we want to get them done. We want to help you with that, especially, even investors. They're doing a 1031 exchange. They're exchanging a like and similar property. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a condo on the west coast, east coast of Florida. They want to move to the better coast, the west coast over here.
But I also, and to go into that a little bit more, even though you're trying to get that done, you're trying to get that homestead exemption, don't rush into this decision.
Right.
And don't make an irrational decision on buying a property. Especially, I keep telling people, don't pay more than they're asking, because if the market has a correction and it drops down, you're now underwater and you're stuck.
Exactly.
Would you pay more to the dealership than they're asking for a car? No. Who does that? You negotiate down. But when it comes to real estate, people get so irrational, they just want to throw money away, and don't do it.
It's funny, my studies with the FBI hostage negotiator I had on the show, and I talk a lot about my certified negotiation expert credentials I have. The one of the key takeaways from the book: people are emotional, irrational beasts.
Yes.
Especially when you throw in something that they care a lot about. Their home, maybe.
Yep. Oh yeah.
They're going to go a little bit more irrational about that and emotional about that. Their home or their significant investment property.
Yep. It's funny because, I look at, I have these websites that send me emails for discounted airfare, and, we get coupons in the mail. We get all this. Now, there's a lot of ways out there where you can, as yourself, kind of see where your house should be priced at, or where that house that you're buying is priced at, and nobody uses them.
Yeah.
They'll go on some of these websites to get their, real quick value, but they don't realize they're showing you every sale in the neighborhood. You can click on that and see what the interior that looked like.
Yep.
Instead, they can just, I can see Jimmy out in the backyard swinging on the jungle gym. So you want $250? I'll give you $260.
Yeah.
Well, think of what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of money.
Multiple offers, highest and best situations.
Yep.
Every seller dreams of that.
Yeah, and take some time to see what else is available.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the key. Because if this market does take a turn, it's not the sales you want to look at, it's the listings.
Yes.
Because that's what they sold for a month ago, but what are they asking for now?
Yeah.
are they coming down for certain reasons, whatever in the neighborhood. So look at those listings, see if you can get a better deal.
Yeah, we want to encourage you to think a layer deeper here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Ray Hall Appraisals. Check them out online, rayhallappraisals.com. And when we come back, we got Linda Ward in the house. We're going to talk about Gulfside Healthcare Services. We're going to think a layer deeper when it comes to taking care of your loved ones. We're talking about home health care, hospice, and some other types of services here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial. Our feel-good story of the day is a good one as well. We got a teen creates an app to help care for grandmother with dementia and releases it for millions of caregivers. Stay with us right here. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week of 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore.
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business card station.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As you're super connected, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. Mm-hmm. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We're recruiting agents right now as well. We're looking for a few select agents to join our team and take advantage of our unique radio and TV show marketing opportunity for our real estate sellers, buyers, investors here. We'd love to help you. My wife and I own the Platinum MVP team, and we are growing, looking for great agents that might want to join our team. ConsumerQB.com is our website. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors at consumerqb.com. qb.com. You can also submit an email form that will come directly through to myself and my team, and we're going to make sure we get back to you before our head hits the pillow. This segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving. The official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is Brothers Easy Moving. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. They do a great job. So whether you're planning a local or a long-distance move, reach out to Brothers Easy Moving, and please let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And we are back here in studio. Our goal is to help you win as your consumer advocate. And we're going to talk about home health care here, and also a little bit about audiology. We got an audiologist in studio today. So Linda Ward, President and CEO of Gulfside Healthcare Services. Welcome back in. Tell us a little overview, and then we're going to talk to Debbie too as well.
I will. Thank you. Hi again. Gulfside Healthcare Services is a healthcare company that serves people in the community throughout the Tampa Bay market. And we have 3 service lines. We have hospice care. Currently, we're serving 600 patients with hospice care that either live in their homes or in assisted living, retirement communities, nursing homes, etc. We have 2 patient care centers as well. And then we do have a palliative care program for non-hospice patients, and we serve those people in our 2 clinics. And we acquired a home health agency last year, and that's when we first came to speak with you and really let people know in the Tampa Bay market that Gulfside Home Health was opening. And we are proud to say that 75 patients are being served right now with home health care, and we have just moved into Pinellas County. And while we were forming that agency, I always try to partner with other service providers in the community. So we were having a health fair at our corporate headquarters in Land O'Lakes, and I received a call from Debbie Mikus, who is, as we know, a wonderful audiologist in the community. And Debbie came and attended our health fair and provided information and assessment opportunities, screenings to the people that were attending that senior health fair. And since then, we've just really become friends and have cross-referred to each other, because it's all about that, right?
Absolutely.
We have people at home, either on hospice care or home health, that either are the caregiver or the patient, but might have some hearing problems. So we give Debbie a call and she can come and help us out there. So really, I'm really happy to have this partnership and introduce you to Debbie Mikus.
Very cool. Awesome, Debbie.
Hi, thank you so much. That was very nice. So it's wonderful to be here. I'm Debbie Mikus. I am an audiologist. I have been practicing for over 25 years, and I have a private practice where I'm a mobile audiologist. So what that means is I go to you or to your family member when you have a concern about hearing loss. I do all of my fittings in the home. That is very, very helpful, especially in the senior population, and that is where I specialize. This all came to be actually because of my grandmother when she could no longer drive. She had broken her hip, and she couldn't drive anymore. And I noticed that she was hesitant to ask me to take her to a doctor's appointment. She didn't want me to take time off from work. She had a lot of pride and dignity and did not want to lose that extra layer of independence. So it was really hard for me to find providers that would come into the home. Wow. And that really inspired this level of service for me.
That's an interesting dynamic, right? Yeah. There's all these different dynamics in life. As a middle-aged person, you're growing up, you start thinking, wow, I need to have a conversation with my mom and dad about estate plans and when they pass, how's the plan. This is another area I can see from what you said, the way that it comes about. Seniors are starting to lose their hearing. The dynamic of, well, if I say something, I'm going to lose my driving privileges, and I got to make it to Bridge or whatever it is, right? So that's an interesting dynamic, Debbie.
Yes, it is. It is. There's so many factors, especially with our senior population, that come into play. It's communication. We want to keep them active and connected with their family and their friends. We want to keep them engaged and social. You can see a lot of hearing loss that's untreated can lead to depression, social isolation.
Right.
There's even a correlation between cognitive decline and dementia and hearing loss.
Wow.
There's a lot of studies out there with that as well.
I believe it. Yeah, that's why people do the crossword puzzles. The what's the other one called? Where the Sudoku.
The word searches.
The word searches and all that. Keep your brain sharp. Those types of things. So Yeah, and I actually had a situation where I'm not sure if it's the right term. Is it tinnitus or something where you have the ringing in the
It's
ear?
tinnitus or tinnitus. There's no right or wrong way to say that.
I had something like that years ago. Luckily, thank God, it kind of went away. But then I immediately started thinking back, I was listening to my music too loud. I shot guns without, the right hearing equipment or the earplugs, ear protection. And man, because I just had this ringing in my ear that wouldn't go away. Luckily, it did. It finally went away.
Yeah. Tinnitus is very common, even with or without hearing loss. And there's really no cure for it. And that's really challenging. As a matter of fact, I see a lot of veterans that have had significant noise exposure.
Yeah.
And many of them suffer tinnitus. And there's very little you can do to stop it. One way is some hearing aids will mask it. But another thing is you just want to make sure you watch your sodium intake, stress levels, try to keep those low, maybe incorporate some breathing and yoga exercises.
I like it. All right, more from Debbie when we come back. And great tips, by the way. That's great stuff. All right, stay with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, more from Ray Hall Appraisals, Linda Ward, Debbie Mikus here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and our feel-good story of the day. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
Hey, this is Jarek Robbins. You are listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Please do what it takes to learn all that you have to live the life you want to live it fully, and find a way to give it by paying it forward to others.
Get in touch with Brandon online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill. But actually, it's our 39th week. 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember it.
Yes. To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left-hand white, and then they catch the left-hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. We've got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Our goal is to help you win in your real estate business, your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you. Published author, professional speaker. Check out our book on Amazon. Become the MVP in your industry by surfing the radio waves. We want to help you win in that stratosphere as well, helping you take your business to new heights. And we partnered up with Ken Shamrock on the Business Growth Celebrity Academy as well. So we're teaching this strategy that we've employed and perfected here, the Business Growth Celebrity Academy. Check out bgca.co. And I want to remind you as well, we have an event coming up that's benefiting our veterans and the Wounded Warriors. Proceeds are going to the Wounded Warriors. So it's the Winner's Circle with Ken Shamrock. He's a UFC Hall of Famer, WWF wrestling legend, which is now known as the WWE. Also, Tampa's own Antonio Tarver, 5-time world boxing champion and co-star of Rocky Balboa with Sylvester Stallone. They're going to be at Florida Firearms Academy. Got a VIP meet and greet opportunity for you. Florida Firearms Academy, January 8th. It's a Wednesday, January 8th, 7 p.m. Register on Eventbrite.com. VIP meet and greet opportunities. Veterans are in free. Our show partners are in free as well. All right, so great lineup for you today. Here we got Ray Hall in the house, Ray Hall Appraisals. Also, Linda Ward, President and CEO of Gulfside Healthcare Services, and more from Debbie Mikus coming up in just one moment. I want to plug our sponsor for this segment is the Bilmar Beach Resort on Gulf Boulevard and Treasure Island, and it's filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special. Check out the Bilmar Beach Resort on Treasure Island. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives. I think they still have the standing ovations going on right now. If you haven't heard of that, these are 10-foot tall sand castles and artwork of all types. Very cool. Went and checked it out a couple weeks ago. You seen it, Ray?
I've seen it before. It's a very cool thing to go see. I mean, I can't even draw a picture, let alone, make a 10-foot sand sculpture. It's unbelievable. It makes me nervous to bring my kids.
Yeah.
Because I'm just afraid one of them is going to go crazy and jump into it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You never know with kids, right?
Yeah, you don't. You really don't.
But they're kind of roped off there, so you'll be fine. You bring your kids to it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's interesting. And, the Bilmar Beach Resort, 90% of the rooms are facing the Gulf. I mean, you literally have 90% of the rooms are overlooking the water. I love hanging out down there.
Oh, that's a gorgeous beach. Huge beach, too.
We're going down there for New Year's too, so it's gonna be a fun time.
We talked about that, yeah.
A huge beach. Clyde Smith, the general manager, says it's a 2-beer beach. It takes you 2 beers to walk all the way down to the
challenge accepted.
There you go.
I'm gonna go for 3.
I like that. That's a slow stroll right there, right? Yeah, he had some on our TV show version. We had the pictures going up there as well. So, yeah, awesome stuff. Good stuff here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want to help you win in your marketplace and buying, selling, or investing, of course. We've got some hot property listings here that I wanted to mention. And we got a property that is in Palm Harbor. This is vacant land now. There's not much vacant land in Palm Harbor, Dunedin, Ozona area, but I've got a great opportunity. 516 Alt 19 in Palm Harbor. Now, this is a prime opportunity to build an office, professional office. This would be just awesome for a business owner to have. Now, one of the things you want to think about when you're buying vacant land is, have the impact fees been paid? That means the water and sewer are connected and impact fees have been paid to the county in Palm Harbor. Now, what you have also is the owner has plans already in place. So you could put retail or office space on the bottom, and they got it built where you have a living occupancy up top, so you can either rent that out or live there.
Yeah, having the entitlements and the impact fees paid, I mean, that's huge.
What are entitlements exactly?
Entitlements are basically you've got the permission to develop that land with that type of a lot of times you might see vacant large acreages of vacant land.
Yeah.
Where you could possibly develop, say, 50 lots. But if you have the entitlements in place, that means everything's a go. Bulldozers can run out and you can put that. And impact fees, those can be very expensive.
Yes.
And that's basically, if you're gonna break new ground, you got to pay a fee for that. And I mean, for land in Pinellas County, the old saying, buy land because you're not making any more of it. Well, Pinellas County is the best example of that you'll find, because there's no land out there. So that's really a great property.
I like it. All right, we got our expert contributors here in studio. That's Ray Hall Appraisals. We got Linda Ward, President and CEO, Gulfside Healthcare Services, as well as Debbie Mikus. She's a mobile audiologist here in studio. All right. So, Linda, you mentioned sometimes around the holiday seasons, there's some special concerns that you have.
Yes, I wanted to mention grief in the holidays. You know, when someone passes away, the first year is very difficult. You know, there's the first everything, the first birthday, the first anniversary.
Yes.
And when the holiday season comes around, quite often it's just very, very difficult. So one of the services that we do for as a nonprofit organization, as well as for all of our patients, family members, survivors, and the community in general, is if anyone is struggling, there are a lot of outlets, a lot of support groups, and a lot of services that we provide free of charge to the community. So if you're having a difficult time, you can go on our website and see all the support groups that are listed, and it's gulfside.org, www.gulfside.org, and you'll be able to find a support group or a grief counselor in your area that can help you through the holidays and just help you with some coping and some tips to get through.
I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. And you had mentioned how you got your location in Land O'Lakes and you had this health fair. So what an awesome, Debbie, congratulations or kudos to you for reaching out, and saying, hey, here's an opportunity. I'm going to reach out and, make contact. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
That you're able to do that. So the dynamics of losing your hearing, the mobile aspect of your business, I got to think is be a huge competitive advantage for some of the traditional models.
It really is. Like I said, especially since I specialize with the senior population and mobility is an issue, sometimes vision, driving, those things are limited now. So that's what I'm very proud to offer that service. And sometimes people will say, well, how do I know if I have a hearing loss? How do I know if my mom or dad needs services? And I always give a couple little questions to ask. And one of those is, do you find that you're needing to repeat yourself more often? Is the TV louder than others find comfortable? Or are you noticing that at dinner they're nodding and smiling and not engaging?
Right.
That's a big clue that they're not understanding all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's very important.
Those are definitely telltale signs of that type of dynamic coming up, and a lot of things in real estate business and what I do for my profession, I look for opportunity. I'm a published author, so I look for opportunities to speak to groups. I like to train negotiation strategies. I love that whole dynamic of the negotiation, the art of negotiation, and that type of thing. So you're looking for those opportunities as well, looking to speak to groups out there, employers, nonprofit organizations.
Yes, I am. Absolutely. It's very important to educate people about hearing loss, signs to look for, and also how to communicate with people with hearing loss. So I do give talks on that, whether it be in a community or a medical facility, because a lot of providers will talk very quickly and rush through a diagnosis or questions and answers, and they may not be thinking that that patient may not be understanding them because they're talking quickly or not looking up and making good eye contact.
Right. And asking those questions, those check-in questions as you go.
Yes.
That's one of the best things you can do in sales or just in business in general, is to have those check-in questions to make sure that your counterpart, your patient, your client, whoever you're speaking with, is on board with the conversation and they're moving forward at a comfortable rate.
Exactly. Yeah, communication is key.
That's important, especially, even open-ended questions, especially, in negotiation in real estate. Does that make sense? Does that seem like a plan? Or are we all bought in here? How do we know we're on track? Those are great questions to have. And so that makes a lot of sense. If you just joined us, we're talking with Debbie Mikus. She's a mobile audiologist here in Tampa Bay, and looking at your bio here, bachelor's degree, master's degree in audiology from the University of South Florida.
Yes.
I'm a fellow Bull at one point. I played football on the inaugural football team for the Bulls. And
awesome.
So USF, what a great school.
Awesome school. Yeah.
So you got your degree there, and you got your master's degree in audiology. Tell us a little bit more about audiology in general. What does that actually mean?
Well, we specialize in hearing. There's also a vestibular component to audiology with balance issues. And I'm going to divert a bit here. We talked about falls earlier, just kind of off the record. And that is something for people to look into as well and be considerate of when you have a hearing loss or a family member with a hearing loss. If you're talking to them while they're walking away, especially if they're elderly,
right,
they may kind of stop looking at where they're going to turn and try to hear what you were saying. And that can cause some balance issues as well as just the hearing loss and vestibular. So I just wanted to get that in there.
It's an increase in danger too. I mean, if an older person, I know my grandma at one point, she had double knees done. They fall down, they break a hip. I mean, that could really lead to a seriously decline in their health.
Yes, it changes their life.
Yeah, it really
without
does.
a doubt.
Yeah, it does. And it's a situation where, you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to comfort them, to help them through, a lot of times, like we said earlier, that fourth quarter in life.
Exactly.
And does it also relate over to speech impediments a lot of times, the audiology side, I think, with stuttering or, some of those types of things?
Well, not stuttering as much, but what we do see, especially with our children, is children with hearing loss, especially if it hasn't been identified yet, you may see some articulation errors. Oftentimes they'll be speaking or learning to speak as they hear, and that can sound muffled and unclear. So that's one of the things, if you have a child that isn't talking yet or is talking but it's not clear, before they'll start speech therapy, they always will request a hearing evaluation to make sure that the hearing is normal and that that's not causing the issue.
Wow. So we love these call to actions on our show. If you're listening to this and this kind of resonates with you, text the word hearing to 813-670-7372. Just simply text the word hearing to 813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline number. Give us a call. We're going to put you in touch with Debbie and her team, or maybe even if you have a need for healthcare services, Linda Ward, you can text a similar text there for health or something along those lines, and we'll put you in touch with them. We'll ask for your email address so we can do a proper email introduction to you as well. And that's the way this show is different. We set this show up as a consumer advocate based program. Those call to actions are for you to take advantage of them. And I tell you, we've had a lot of uptick in calls lately. People want to know the value of their home, want to know what's happening with their credit improvement. Lots of ways that we can help you here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, more from our expert contributors in our lightning round, and we have our feel good story of the day as well. Teen creates an app that helps care for his grandmother with dementia, and then he releases it for free to millions of caregivers. Find out about that and more from our experts here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with D'Angelo Star.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember anymore.
To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As you're super connected, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step Image. I love that name because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Big shout out to Taps Restaurant, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Taps Restaurant over at the International Plaza on Bay Street. They've got an excellent variety on their menu, wonderful food. The staff is super friendly, and the ambiance is awesome. Taps Restaurant over at the International Plaza on Bay Street. They've got an outdoor patio seating area, so your furry friends are welcome, dogs are welcome, and they have a daily happy hour, 2 to 7 p.m. It's a local gastropub here in Tampa Bay. Restaurant, Taps Restaurant, Bar and Lounge here in Tampa Bay. Now, make sure you let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Hot property listing is 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs. This is a property that's 2 stories. It's got the walkability factor in Tarpon Springs. You could literally walk to dinner, walk to the waterways, take some nice walks in the park. 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs. Lots of upgrades as well. Beautiful flooring throughout. There's room in the backyard to put a pool in if you'd like. And at 216 North Spring Boulevard in Tarpon Springs, hot property listing. Check out all of our real estate listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. And every day we're going to tell you something positive in our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
Okay, so we got a teen that creates an app for his grandmother with dementia, but then he releases it to millions of caregivers. A high school student in Lexington, Massachusetts, developed an app that makes it easier for people to care for loved ones with dementia. Logan Wells, was 15 when his grandmother was diagnosed with the disease. Quote, "The effect that it's had on my grandmother has been terrible, but it was also really hard on my parents and other family members." So he came up with the app idea CareZare, which allows caregivers to easily work as a team through a communication portal. Logan did the coding while his father, Eric, helped him create the original prototype and coordinated the marketing. The free app allows users to create a profile centered around the individual with dementia and invite other people to join and receive notifications. With the app, you can schedule events, confirm completed tasks, and even add a heads up, such as the current mood of the patient or poor weather conditions. Logan says the app is currently being used by over 600 families, and he's hoping it will grow. Caregiving is such an important issue for them because it's so personal for them, just as it is for me. Now, Linda, I know you said that one kind of hits close to home with you, with your business and your line of work. I mean, what an awesome app, right?
It is amazing. I actually went on the app and checked it out earlier. I mean, I am just thrilled that a teenager created this because the intergenerational effect it really resonates with people in need because our young people are just embracing technology in a way that we don't because we didn't grow up with it. So it's nothing for a kid to develop, something in general, but then to have that caring spirit as a 15-year-old to say, I want to help my grandmother, and now I could put this out to the public and help others. It's spectacular. I'm going to market it.
I love it. Yeah. Hey, we're going to help him with that marketing. CareZare was the name of the app, by the way. So we got a great lineup for you today. Ray Hall in the house, Ray Hall Appraisals, Linda Ward, she's the president and CEO, Gulfside Healthcare Services, and Debbie Mikus here, mobile audiologist here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So I got an interesting story I thought we'd kind of talk about. This one is from Jim Rohn, the great motivational speaker, and he's just an awesome individual, late and great, I should say. 6 secrets for thriving, not just surviving through the holidays. So the holiday season is officially on us, and it's graced us with its presence, it says, but it talks about how the holidays are a fast pace. It's a fast pace. You'd mentioned grieving earlier as well. A lot of people are dealing with that. And So there's 6 secrets here is what he's saying. So number 1 is be temperate. It says, of course we can overindulge in food, and there's all these different things that happen, parties that we can overindulge in. But it says when we go overboard, we regret it and lose the opportunity to fully experience that moment. So number 1 of the 6 secrets is to be temperate. So that one hits home. Don't overeat, right? And then number 2, lower your expectations. And when he talks about that, he talks about, setting the expectations too high. Don't set them too high when you're with friends and family. Be careful about what you're expecting there. And I think that also kind of goes into the holiday goals, goal setting this time of year. A lot of times people overestimate what we can do in one year. We're really optimistic. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But then we severely underestimate what we can do in 5 years.
Right.
That was a note I put next to that one. Number 3, enjoy what you can and ignore the rest. There's something to be said for that, right? If it's not serving you, just let it go. Focus on yourself, what you can control, what Stephen Covey called the sphere of influence versus the sphere of concern.
Right.
Number 4, stay out of debt. Debt is a killer. It's the time of year people are piling up debt. So be careful about what you're putting on the good old charge card, because January, February comes around and then you have to pay for that. And then take time for yourself. Good one. Take time for yourself. And it talks about how, this time of year is really a time to slow down. It's really what Dr. Wayne Dyer talked about as well. As he talked about, reflective thinking. A good time of year to do some reflective thinking. There's some stuff on the back burner. I might want to move that to the front burner. This one over here, I might want to slow down with that one and really kind of rethink that one. But take time to yourself. Long baths, walks, sitting by the fire, re-energize yourself. This is a time to re-energize yourself. So again, concluding our 6 steps for thriving, not just surviving through the holidays. Number 6 is focus on your spiritual life. It's that time of the year when we really, it's that time where we want to take extra time and give thanks and be a little bit more spiritual than we are throughout the year, because it's a fast-paced life that we live. And, focusing on that is going to help re-energize you and help you bring in 2020. Can you believe it? 2020 already.
It's hard to believe it's gone by this fast.
Right around the corner.
It's funny now when you watch Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
When he went into the future, but it was 4 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, was it really?
It's where's my flying car?
Yeah. Where's the flying car? What happened? Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. So we got Ray Hall in the house, Linda Ward, Debbie Mikus. We're jumping into the lightning round.
The lightning round!
I am so good at lightning rounds!
I majored in lightning rounds.
Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Let's do ladies first here. Linda Ward.
Okay, top tip is to just parlay on what you just said, Brandon. Take care of yourself. If you need help, give us a call. If you're at home caring for someone, or you're lonely, or you need some help after a surgery, just give us a call. Go on our website, lots of services, www.gulfside.org.
Awesome. Debbie Mikus.
Hi. So my top tip is, because of the holidays, if you have a family member with hearing loss, then you're celebrating together. It's important to remember that who's ever doing the talking does the walking to the other person. If someone's in another room, don't try to have a conversation. They may not hear what you said. They may hear your voice, but not understand. So if you want to have good communication, be face to face and don't talk louder, just talk a little bit slower.
I like that. That's a good one. Ray Hall Appraisals.
Top advice, again, is, educate yourself on that value. If you're unsure about what your house is worth, if you're looking to sell, if you're looking to buy a house or refinance, and you're not sure, if you can't figure it out, call an appraiser in. Like I said, we can do these appraisals. They're restricted use. They're for your eyes only. $150. Call my office, 813-452-5369. Happy to get that done for you and let you have some confidence going into that decision.
I like it. That's good stuff. Also on the negotiation style, you're going to be negotiating things throughout these holidays. There's going to be different family dynamics, different negotiations, maybe some scheduling stuff. So you think about the negotiation. There's a rule called the 738-55% rule. You may have heard about this one. It's been around for a while. I think it originated from what school? I forgot the school. I think it was Stanford or Berkeley out there. But 738. 55% rule, right? So 7% of what we say is actually the words that we say. 38% is the tone, how we say it, right? And the overwhelming majority is the body language that we use when we're talking to people. So that's a good way for you to, position yourself when you're negotiating. Again, we talked about people are being irrational and emotional beings, right? That's what we are. That's how we're wired. So think about the 38 738-55% rule when you're negotiating with people, and how that might help you detect a liar or someone who's stretching the truth a little bit out there. So some good tips. So, hey, we've got Ray Hall in the house. Ray Hall Appraisals. Thanks so much for coming in, man.
Thanks for having me.
Linda Ward, President, CEO, Gulfside Healthcare Services. Debbie Mikus, mobile audiologist as well. Thank you very much. Some good nuggets of advice. Great show today. Lots of great content. Thanks for our listeners, our viewers out there, our producers behind the scenes putting the show together. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Something as simple as packing up some food or clothing, carry it with you to and from your commute. Maybe even sharing this show to someone that you know of, and maybe dealing with some of these different issues, or maybe need a little motivation, and maybe swing a hammer for Habitat for Humanity. Lots of things you can do to be a force for good in the community. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and the Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook, as well as our YouTube channel. Lots of great content on YouTube. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.